That's a big fish.
Are you kidding? Oh my God!
Big mama came out. This is the biggest fish I've ever killed bullfish.
Sun's out.
Buff's out, baby. Good job. What a night. Right there in the rock. Look, there's a big one. Nice shot, Taylor. Get him, Smitty. Doubled up, baby.
Hey!
Good job, man. There we go. We got two of them now. He's a good gator. He's a monster. That's a good gator.
Wow. Love Bowfish. Come here. Time for a free boat ride in the AMS boat. Hey everybody. Welcome. Bowfishing Buzz presented by AMS Bowfishing and
Mega Mouth Bowfishing as well.
That's right, Schmitty. My name is Matthew. Here with my good buddy D. Schmitty.
Yes, sir.
And welcome to episode 41. 41 here. And we have a special guest that we're going to be calling Schmitty.
Yeah, actually, as we were playing that intro there, you know, he's messing around, flicking my bill.
Yeah.
During the intro, there was some audio there. I'm like, oh yeah,
Yep.
okay, this is kind of tying into who we're gonna have on the show today.
That was some audio in that beginning soundtrack there of gator hunting down in Florida with my buddy Billy Lawson. That's the voice you heard in right there where he said, that's a good one right there.
Good one right there. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. So we're going to be giving Billy Lawson a call, who lives down in Orlando, Florida. And I was on my most recent alligator hunt down there a couple years ago. And we had a great time, got some awesome footage on some of the gators. He's going to be on with us. And we're going to talk a little bit about the alligators. But one thing that's really cool, Derek, what they do is they go down to the Keys a couple times a year. And they go way offshore, and they do some bow fishing for some Mahi Mahi.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna have to ask him some specifics on that.
Yeah. Yeah. They do a lot of cool stuff. They do. First, they go into some of the shallower areas. I don't know how exactly deep they are, but they go down and they spearfish.
Okay. Yep.
Barracuda and grouper and stuff like that. Lion.
gosh.
Those are lionfish, right?
Lionfish. I think they're poisonous, aren't they?
They're poisonous and they're very invasive.
Yeah, they're bad. Yeah.
They actually have tournaments down there.
Really?
To where people can go out and they try to get as many as they can out of there. But they are really good to eat, I guess.
That's a bonus.
But you have to cut those spines off of them.
Oh, yeah,
because
that could
the
be
spines
bad.
are poisonous.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, we're going to be giving Billy a call. And then also, don't forget, it's going to be on our YouTube, on AMS Bowfishing's YouTube channel.
Yep.
There'll be a video clip of this with a bunch of footage from Billy and his crew down there bow fishing for the Mahi Mahi and do some spear fishing and some other cool stuff. We're going to have some alligator footage on there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, make sure to check that out. And then also, today is going to be our season finale on Carbon TV.
Yes, sir.
Is going to be our season finale with our bow fishing episodes. It's actually a pretty cool one, Derek.
What are we uploading?
Okay, it's a step back to 2014.
Oh, okay. Just side note, I love these. I love those older episodes. They're really cool.
Yep. But it's a step back to 2014. We went on a family bow fishing trip to South Dakota.
I remember seeing
My
footage.
wife and my two daughters, Macy and Mara. And at the time, Macy was 13 and Mara was 10.
Wow.
So we had a bunch of cool footage from that trip right there. And then last year, 2021, I had to go back out to South Dakota to do some testing for the new Hooligan V2 and some new photos and stuff like that there. And then I was accompanied once again by my wife, Julie, and then Mara, who now is 17.
Mm-hmm. And she was working here at the time, too.
Yes.
Yep.
So we've got some footage of her from when she was bow fishing when she was 10 years old in South Dakota. And then we got some footage of her also doing some bow fishing when she's 17 years old back home in South Dakota.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a little now and later aspect there. That's kind of neat.
So that's going to be our season finale on Carbon TV. We had an awesome time this year having the bow fishing shows on there. But now it's kind of the wind down. Now the people are going to be getting more interested into the hunting, archery hunts and big game hunts, stuff like that there. So our season is going to be winding down. We're still going to continue to have our podcast
Yeah,
on there.
absolutely.
And our video podcast as well. But the episodes will start again next year, right around the middle of March, and we'll have a bunch of fresh stuff out there as well.
And too, Matt, just to throw in there,
Yep.
friend of ours, Al Brusky, right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
He's out
Big Al.
with Corey Brosman, and they are shooting some stingrays out
Yes, they
in Delaware.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So he's having all kinds of cool. He was sending megamouth pictures and everything, and it looks like they're just having a blast out there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool to see them out there doing that with Corey.
The cool thing about that trip is it's Al and his two brothers out there, Dustin and Dennis and Al. And then they also took their brother-in-law out there, Tony Hayden.
Okay, yeah.
And then, of course, Mr. Brusky. They took their father out there.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's really cool.
That's really cool.
Because they almost lost Al almost lost his father a year and a half ago due to COVID.
Oh my
He
gosh,
became
really?
really sick with COVID. Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
That's terrible.
So they're having a great time out there. I saw that his dad shot like 170 some pound
really?
butterfly ray the other day.
Well, that's
yesterday,
cool.
I think it was. So,
That's awesome.
So they're having a good time out there. And then one other thing we'll touch on here before you give Billy a call is this Friday is the BAA Worlds down in Louisiana.
Yep.
I'm sure that there's a bunch of teams down there already enjoying the beautiful Louisiana landscape and the waters down there and the species of fish, doing a bunch of scouting down there. So just want to wish everybody the best of luck down there.
Yep.
And I just got some notes here, Derek, that the BAA has raised $33,207 in donations.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
That's great.
Donations.
That's
That's
I know
crazy.
AMS and Megamouth also did a bunch of donated a bunch of stuff for their live auctions down there as well. And plus we sent them donations for prizes and stuff as well. And but that's awesome to all the companies that put out live auctions, all the individuals that put up stuff so they could auction it off to raise money for the worlds. That's awesome.
Yep.
Very cool. So they're going to be paying out $10,000 in the Big 20.
Oh wow.
And then also $10,000 in the numbers.
Oh, they're okay. Gotcha.
So that's really cool. And then they also have like 3 big fish side pots. They have a youth category, which has got like over $1,000 in there. A female division in there as well. So good job, BAA, and wishing everybody down there the best of luck in this year's BAA Worlds. Got to root for my Wisconsin guys down there.
Yeah. Boy, I wonder what the temperature is in Louisiana right now, because it's 90 here.
I know.
It's humid and muggy. These last 2 days have been brutal. I wonder what it is down there.
Yep,
It's
absolutely.
got to be nasty, but
yeah, so let's give Mr. Billy Lawson a call, and I'm sure it's probably like 90 degrees down there, and he's probably loving the weather down there. He always, every time we talk, he always says, "I don't know how you can handle that Wisconsin weather."
oh, right back at him. I don't know how he can survive having the heat that they have down there.
Right. So yeah, let's give Billy a call.
Let's see what Billy's got to say today.
Matthew.
How are you doing, Billy?
Good, sir.
Well, we'd like to welcome you to the Bowfishing Buzz here, and glad you were able to join us this morning for a little bowfishing talk with some of your excursions that you go on down there in Florida.
I do a few of them, buddy.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. For those that don't know, I met Billy at the ATA show probably, 5 years ago, Billy? Probably longer than that, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we just became friends, and you were working at that time. I don't know if you still are or not, but with Spy Point cameras, is that correct?
Yes, we're still with them.
Okay, that's cool. And we were always talking fishing and bow fishing and all this stuff when we were at the ATA shows. And then a couple years ago, you invited me down there to try some bow fishing for alligator down there. And you showed me some video of how you were doing the gator hunts down there, and I just absolutely was like, I need to do this. And
being able to hunt them during the daytime like that.
Right. And then to get the interaction with them by playing the sounds of baby alligators to get them to come close to the boat was just intriguing to me, you know?
Okay. Yeah, that doesn't matter. It brings in the males and the females, especially the males, because they want to inspect to see if it's their babies or not.
And if it's not their babies, what happens?
They will eat them.
Wow. Wow.
My goodness. Good thing our fathers don't do that.
Oh, jeez.
Wow. But no, and I was so glad to be able to get down there with you back in, I think it was 2020 when we did that gator hunt, Billy. And
Yeah, it was. That's right.
yeah, and it was just so awesome to see that, the reaction that we got from some of those gators. And it's just like turkey hunting. Sometimes you get a reaction, sometimes there's nothing, It's kind of like what you call that, running and gunning, I guess, is kind of what we're doing for gators.
Yeah, and it is, and what I love about it when you're doing that type of gator hunting where we're using the call and the gator, it calls all the gators, but sometimes you can't tell if the gator that's coming if he's in the weeds and stuff. You don't know if he's 3 foot or 12 foot.
Right. Exactly.
The way they and so that's another exciting part because you're not sure just what's coming in every time.
Right, and that's the video that you showed me at the ATA show. All that reed grass is sticking up, and all you can see is the grass parting. It was like King Kong coming through the woods. You didn't know what was going to show up when it got next to the boat.
No idea. And they're going to come right to the boat. That's the amazing part is they'll literally come up and swim directly into the side of the boat.
And that's so true, Billy, because the gator that I ended up shooting down there with the first time using the calls, we saw that gator he started coming at us from 200 yards away up that canal. And and he
awesome.
just
knew what that was coming because he was out in the wide open. And
right.
we could tell this is a shooter gator, and he's coming straight to us.
Absolutely. And he came on a dime. I mean, it was a constant swim until he was... I probably took the shot when he was probably 5 yards from the boat. But that was so cool. And then, to get all that footage from the airboats down there with the Orlando gator hunt guys with their airboats and stuff, and then taking that gator to the processor and filming all of them, processing the gators and then sending us the gator meat later on. Then we had a big potluck.
Very delicious. Yeah.
With the gator meat. It was excellent, by the way. But it was such a cool trip, Billy, and we had such a good time. But we also are hooking up again this fall, Billy. We've got I applied for gator tags down there, and I got 2 tags. And then another person that we know down there applied and got 2 tags. So we're coming down in September, Billy. We've got 4 tags, buddy.
And I got 2 myself. So we've got...
my goodness.
Get plenty of gators, and actually you got a great lake that you got drawn on. And I'll tell you something really funny this year is they had a record number of applicants because it's a lottery, you know, to get your gator tags. And this year there was over 22,000.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, that's
gator.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And they only out, I think, 6,000.
Oh
wow!
You know what? So we did pretty good. We're getting as many draws.
Absolutely. Are we still going to go out with the Orlando Gator hunt guys?
Oh yeah, we're going to go back out with Bobby and Randy and go have a great time. Those guys, they put on they got a great setup. Everything works good. They know the process. They know all the rules and regulations. That way everything's done correctly, and we take the gator the way we're supposed to, and they extended it this year where we are going to be able to hunt just about 24 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is really cool because in the past we had to start hunting at 5:30 at night is when we could start hunting.
Oh wow.
5:30 at night. And then there's certain lakes down here that had noise ordinances that off the lake by 11:30, but not valid during the season this year.
Wow. So we can hunt from sunrise to sundown all through the night. We got the lakes to ourselves for this upcoming season.
Exactly. Because in my head, past like some of the stuff that 3 o'clock in the morning to about 6:30 in the morning, it seems that the gators get really docile, and they're just out there kind of swimming and kind of hunting, and they're on top and they're out moving around. And it's a great time to go get a gator. They're good.
Wow. Well, I am looking forward to it because we're going to be bringing down Wendy here in the office. She's a receptionist. She handles all the orders. She handles all the shipping out there, shipping out the orders. A lot of you people probably know Wendy. You probably talked to her on the phone. She's going to be joining us this year down there, Billy. And we're going to try our darndest to get Wendy a nice gator with a crossbow, with a big game crossbow set up here from AMS Bowfishing. So that'll be a neat little deal to try to get on film as well down there.
That'll be great. I think she's going to love it.
Yes, she is.
She realized that, though, if that's a gator, it's kind of like deer hunting, where they kind of wipe the blood under your eye. But she's got to kiss when it's first gator. She's got to give the gator a kiss. So
that's right. We're going to get that all on film, too.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, that's awesome. Well, Billy, we've got a couple questions here that we'd like to ask you, just so we can kind of get audience can kind of know a little bit about yourself there. When did you start bowfishing? You lived in Florida your whole life, correct?
I've lived in Florida my entire life. I'm still here, still in the same town. But I got into I had hunted my whole life, and I got into archery probably a little bit after high school, and just really fell in love with archery. And then it got to the point to where you're always wanting to shoot in the off season and stuff like that. So then, why don't we start bow fishing?
There you go. Yeah.
Plenty of down here to shoot in the shallows. We all have airboats, so we're like, well, let's start doing that. And so we picked up the bow fishing bows, which have come a long way.
Yep.
But that's when I started. I was probably just out of high school.
Okay. All right.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. So, Billy, Derek here. What species did you start bow fishing when you first started?
Oh, we started going down in the lakes down here, and we were bow fishing gar and tilapia.
Okay.
They're all, the gar aren't, but the tilapia are invasive, and they're just everywhere in the shallows. And we just basically started shooting those in the water first.
And then they're also great table fare, too.
Fresh water.
Yeah. And they're also good to eat down there, too, right?
Do what now?
The tilapia are actually really good to eat as well. Oh, did you get?
There you go.
Yep.
Lost you there for a second.
All right. There we go. Are tilapia good to eat as well?
Yeah, the tilapia, they're all invasive down this way, and the gar are everywhere, and the tilapia the problem with what we got with the tilapia down here and why we don't like the tilapia are because they bed where the bass bed, and that's our game fish, the largemouth bass. And what they do is they get in when they start fanning their gigantic beds. They actually are fanning they're taking all of the sand away and washing the eggs away from the bass beds.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yep. Kind of like the carp up here, how they kind of wreck the habitat for the native fish to spawn. Same thing down there with the tilapia.
Same thing with the bass and what we call shell crackers and stuff like that. They're just a night. They take up too much landscape, and and they're the natural game fish.
Gotcha. So you started out bow fishing for gar and tilapia. When did you make that big jump to the big game of bow fishing for alligators, Billy?
So when we started to do it, the way that we always did it in the past was with like what we call a hand harpoon, that we would literally run and gun up on a gator and throw like an old harpoon, like as if you were some, old whaler.
Right, right.
And put a line and a float on it. And then we started thinking, we're like, we've got these bow fishing bows, and we've snagged them before. It was like, why can't we shoot them with these? So it was just one of those, like, back in those days, when we were there, that was before the lottery draws and everything. You just got tags and you went,
Right.
But yeah, we just said it's got to work, and it works great.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
amazing.
That's cool. You were kind of like a Inuit down there with your old gator spear in hand and chasing them down.
Yeah.
So Billy, what's the biggest gator you personally have gotten bow fishing?
The biggest gator I got was I think he was 11'9".
Nice.
And he was a big monster, and I got him, and it was a battle.
I bet.
Yeah.
It actually took a while, and we just really took our time, and we got him really tired, and then he finally started to do a good death roll, and he pretty much cocooned himself up, and we got him to the top where we got him with a bang stick. But
Wow.
yeah, he was a big one. He came up in a trail that we were going down, and we just ran up on him. I mean, it was one of those. It was like good luck that he was there, and he couldn't get away from us, and I got a good shot, but we just let him get tired, because as big as that gator was, there was no way I was just going to fight him up.
Right.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning we were so concerned with how's the arrows going to hold up,
Mm-hmm.
But nah, your arrows do just fine.
So Billy, how much does an 11-foot gator weigh? How much does that weigh?
That gator was he was probably, I don't know, probably 350, 400 pounds.
Wow.
I mean, it was a big male gator.
That is cool. That is cool. So you started out bow fishing for gar, tilapia. You moved up to the alligators down there. Then you were talking to me about the offshore stuff, Billy. Going out for the Mahi Mahi and other fish offshores, and some of the video you have is really cool, which we're going to be showing on our YouTube broadcast of this podcast as well. But tell us a little bit about the offshore bow fishing down there, Billy, and what you guys do down there, and kind of how you do it, and how far away offshore you go and stuff like that, because that's something that you really don't hear a lot about, in bow fishing. It's mainly the lakes, in the Midwest and in Kentucky and stuff like that there in Alabama's, where we're shooting buffs and commons, where you guys are going out and shooting some pretty awesome, fish offshore. So can you tell us a little bit about that whole excursion there, Billy?
Yeah, so like how that began, when we had our television show, we were always looking for things to step outside of the box.
Right.
Something outside of the norm, and we started looking and doing the investigating to find out, what, can we bow fish different species of saltwater fish? And come to find out, once we got out of, the interior waters and got out into the big federal waters, it was open game for a lot of different species. So we found out that we were able to bow fish mahi, cobia, and we were like, well, that's got to be challenge accepted. Let's go. So
right.
Most of the time when we're out there, and we got really successful, and it was really funny. I know that when we were airing our show on television, that Mahi episode was, I think at that time, was like the second most viewed show of the year.
Oh, wow.
What is going on? These guys are crazy.
Right.
Because we're literally 60 to 80 miles out in the ocean in 3,000 foot of water.
Oh, my gosh.
Bow fishing.
3,000 feet.
That's crazy. And like you said, probably viewed by a lot because, like you said exactly, something out of the box, something out of the ordinary that people don't always see,
Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things that people were just like, they're doing what? And they were like, oh. And it was successful. And I'm going to tell you, it's when those mahi are coming in, or when you're out there shooting bonita or blackfin tuna or the cobia, I mean, they're like lightning bolts.
Right.
I mean, you're shooting just some of the fastest fish coming in that you could imagine, you know.
Wow.
But when you get them schooled up and they get in a frenzy, I mean, you can pick and start shooting and fill the boat in a heartbeat with some great plays.
Wow. That is something that I really, we need to hook up on that. That really intrigues me. Just watching some of your video, because you put you have a guy that goes down in a outfit that sits behind the motors underwater. He's got the underwater camera footage of all that stuff, all the action taking place under the water.
Oh yeah,
it looks unbelievable. And then of course you're getting sharks coming in too as well, aren't you?
Oh yeah, you'll lose a few fish. A lot of times, yeah, our cameramen that we put in the water, we'll put them back there between the engines, and they just kind of sit motionless, and it doesn't really disturb the fish. And they're there with the underwater cameras, and you get some just incredible footage. When you're that far out in the ocean, the water is so clear and so beautiful. You know, the images that you get underwater of the arrow hitting the water or it hitting fish. But yeah, when you do that, a lot of times when you get those fish being a little bit of distress or something like that, and you don't stone the fish, and he starts swimming down, and it'll pretty much every time we've got sharks that are going to be at the boat. Sometimes they'll steal the fish before you can get it in the boat, you know. But it's funny, but you know, our cameramen that are down there, you know, they're seasoned vets with being around the sharks and all that, so it's pretty good.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And then I also see in your videos, you're looking for some type of floating vegetation that might be out there. I even saw in a video where you guys stumbled across a pallet out there in the middle of the ocean.
Oh my gosh.
You can find the craziest things. And what we do is literally when we're out there, that's what we're looking for. We call it structure. So you got with storms, the weed lines, they bust apart and come back together and bust apart and come back together. But what happens is when they start to come back together, it creates a fishery. So you'll have the little bait fish will be just under the grass. Underneath that's a little bit bigger fish. Underneath that's a little bit bigger fish than that. Becomes that fishery. And it's the exact same thing with a pallet. You can go out there and, I mean, we've been out there and seen the stuff. I mean, we've shot mahi that were swimming underneath a 5-gallon bucket that was just floating out there.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's because when they're out in the ocean and there's nothing, you know, so something has to happen, and all it takes is just one floating 2x4, and it'll create a fishery.
Yeah, I was amazed because you guys showed that pallet out there floating, you know, it's just sitting there bobbing in the waves and stuff, and then you had your cameraman jump in the water, and as soon as he went down right below that pallet, just like you said, you had your smaller fish right up close to the wood on the pallet. Then you had a little bit bigger fish down lower, and a little bit bigger fish down lower. It was just crazy.
Yeah, it's literally just like looking at the food chain.
Yeah.
And it's little fish, bigger fish, real big fish, and then oh my goodness, fish.
Wow, that is really cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yep. And then I also saw, Billy, in the video where you guys, what you do is you'll cast out and you'll hook a mahi on hook and line, and then bring him to the boat. And it's like that whole group of mahi follow that one mahi.
Right. So like mahi, you know, they pretty much swim in schools.
Okay.
And they are the fastest growing fish in the ocean.
Huh.
And I mean, they get to be tremendous weights in less than a year.
Oh my gosh.
And what they do is when they're born, when you shoot them, you get schoolies, and then we get what we call teenagers, and then you get to the adults. And but what we do is we'll go out and we'll just start. We literally are fishing. We've got a fishing pole, and we've got a ballyhoo rigged up on a hook, and we'll catch one. And 9 times out of 10, when you're reeling that fish up to the boat, that school will follow. And when that school gets up there, we're up there and we're just using chum. We're using minnows and other ground up fish and just throwing the chum out. And once you get them in that feeding frenzy, it's right beside the boat, and they're going to be coming from deep, shooting up to shallow, and you got to time your shot, you know.
Yeah.
But it's so fun to do. But you know, you can do that, or sometimes we'll just get by a weed line, and you can just troll by a weed line and just kind of throw some chum out here and there. And when they see that chum, they just swim out from underneath. That water's so clear, you can see them. It's just that clear and that vivid.
That is so cool.
Yeah,
that
that's
is
neat.
really cool. I know. I also in that video I saw your buddy Brian, right? Brian.
You were breaking up. I don't know. Your phone was cutting in and out for a second.
Okay. Well, you also your buddy Brian goes on these trips with you as well, right? Brian Stevens.
Yeah, Brian and I go every time, and normally we have his brother Mark is the one that's in the water.
Yes.
Swim sharks.
Right, because he was isn't he like a professional diver?
No, Mark, the brother that does the underwater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Mark is a trained combat diver in the special. So I mean, he's
That's
I think the shark is scared of him than he is of them.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's really
crazy.
That's really cool. Because I remember watching some video where it was pretty choppy out there, you know, and Brian was back there by the outboard motors. That's where the fish were, and he was trying to take a shot, but it was so wavy and stuff. You guys were actually holding him by holding the back of his shirt to kind of get his timing from the waves, and then taking the shot and stuff like that. There, it looks crazy.
Yeah, it's just more that adds to the game. You know, it's when you're out there bow fishing them, you've got, you know, Mother Nature is not your friend most of the time. You're in 3 to 5 foot seas a lot of times, so you have to time the wave. You've got to time your shot. You got to realize he's going to be this deep and now this deep to get your shot in. So there's a lot of things that have to be processed in your brain in a microsecond before you can take your shot and not fall out of the boat at the same time.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to fall out of the boat when there's a feeding frenzy going on.
Yeah, sharks everywhere.
With a couple of sharks swimming around too.
Yeah. I can tell you, when you do fall out at that time, it doesn't take you very long to get back in.
No, I imagine not. Wow. So then you shoot a Mahi Mahi, you get him in the boat, you're taking some pictures of him, throw him in the ice chest, and then after a day's work out there, head back in, and I can just imagine, you know, what it's like grilling up those Mahi Mahi or preparing them for the table with the scenery out there. It's just got to be something just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great. You go back into port, you do your normal, you know, you lay all your fish out, you take pictures, everybody's happy, high five, and then the fun begins. You start cleaning all the fish and start processing them and bagging them and, you know, vacuum sealing them and getting them ready. And some of the times we just go straight back to the room and just start cooking them. And so, you know, it's just a great time. It's a great trip, and I tell anybody that gets a chance, they've got to try it one time. It's an amazing, fun thing to do. It's difficult, but it's fun.
Not only bow fishing, Billy, but you guys are doing some pretty crazy stuff with the spear guns as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm an avid diver, and I go down with Mark and the spear fishing is, you know, we love it down there. You get down as deep as you want, and we generally, you can take your pick of what fish you want then, you know, and you can swim right up on them. So
That is really cool. Going out offshore bow fishing, then you got the spear fishing. I mean, that's just so cool. And like I said, hopefully one of these years I get a chance to come down there with you and do some of that Mahi Mahi bow fishing. That'd be so cool to do that with you guys down there and to experience something, like you said, out of the box, out of the normal for bow fishing, especially for us up here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. just bring some sunscreen.
I know I saw in the videos there, you guys are out there and you actually have like really thin sweatshirts on too because it's so hot out there to protect your skin from getting burnt, I imagine.
Yeah, most of the time, because you know there's nothing protecting you. You're out in the wide open, so you just got solid sunshine shining straight on you.
Wow. That is cool. So I guess with that, Billy, we're going to wrap it up. Looking forward to September, getting down there with you to do some bow fishing for some big old toothy critters. The old alligator is down there again, so can't wait to hook up with you down there in September. But thank you very much for joining us on the Bowfishing Buzz podcast, and thanks for telling us your stories on your offshore bow fishing experiences. But really appreciate you having me on here, Billy.
I appreciate it. Anytime. I'm ready for you to get down here, and we'll have another story to tell after the next gator hunt.
You got that right. Thank you very much, Billy, and have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in September.
Thanks, Billy.
All right, guys. Take care.
You bet. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm just going to get this out of the way right now because I know it's going to come up. Do not get any ideas because I'm not going to submerge myself in the water behind the boat and film you shooting fish. So you could just wipe that out of your brain.
We're going to get you
No.
We're going to get you all that gear that they wear, little snorkel gear and all that stuff there, and you're going to go down with the underwater GoPros.
Yeah, just swim around.
And we're going to go up to like Green Bay, and the water temperature is going to be nice and cold.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
We'll get you down in there.
Actually, that would be,
Be fun.
up there with the water. And if you get a camera that could capture it like that, just some of the footage that I've seen of Billy's, if you had something like that up there, it could be absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
It could be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. That's weird that we had cell reception issues. We've done how many calls in here and never had a problem?
Yeah, I think it's something to do with the microphones and stuff in here that kind of
that's
create a little mishaps
strange.
there. But we apologize for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we hope you enjoyed listening to some of Billy's stories there, of his experiences there offshore bow fishing, something that we don't hear a lot about.
That's so even
in
just
the sport of bow fishing.
us being up here, Wisconsin, like all that just seems. Even I've never been on a gator hunt. I've seen footage of you and you've talked about it. It all just seems so like otherworldly.
Yeah.
It just seems crazy that you could be anywhere and you're in 3,000 feet of water. Mm-hmm. A deep lake up here is 50 feet deep. I mean, that's just that. Like I can't even imagine that. I can't even comprehend it. That's just wild. He's probably never home. All the stuff he's got to do down there. That's crazy.
I don't blame him neither.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
Heck
that's
yeah.
all sounds like fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool.
And then also when we go down there, we also do some hog hunting.
Oh yeah. Did you do that when you were down there last time?
We didn't have time last time.
Oh, okay.
But then he also wants to take me out where the kind of the rivers and all that stuff kind of, and the lake water runs into the ocean down there, where you get those big bridges that go across.
Yeah.
He wants to take me out to go. First, we're going to go out and shoot some stingrays.
Oh wow.
And then we're going to go use those stingrays as bait
Oh, I remember you telling me about this.
for giant grouper.
Groupers. Okay.
You know,
Wow.
like you're talking like 400-pound grouper.
That's crazy. Whenever I see someone catching a grouper, they get the fish boat side and then they jump in the water
Yes.
to take a picture.
That's the thing. Yeah.
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 And
They're
it's like
just so big.
It's like 4 times the size of the person who
Yeah.
caught it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
So yeah,
That's
there's
very cool.
so much to do when you get down in that state. You know, it's just crazy. You need turkey hunting. You know, Osceola's. He's in Osceola County.
Oh wow.
You get
Okay.
the Osceola turkeys.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
they're pretty cool looking birds.
I tell you what, the next time I go out bluegill fishing, I'm gonna bring a pallet with me. See if I can't make myself a little fishery underneath
You
that
throw
pallet.
a pallet out there.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep, just drag it behind the boat. That's cool. Lots of crazy, foreign, interesting details about what he does down there. That's awesome. And when is that trip slated for, Matt?
My season starts on September 12th.
September 12th. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But yeah, looking forward to that. So, and you got anything here, Derek? For you got any of your goofy quotes that I got to try to guess who said them? or
Sure.
this
Yeah,
and
we got
that?
one of those. And then we'll wrap it up with a product highlight after that. So,
my
all
goodness.
right, let's see. Let's see what the quote is here. All right. So, as always, you're going to guess, even though that's getting pretty difficult. You know what? I'll give you a hint. So, I'm going to say a quote. Matt's going to guess who said the quote, and then he has to somehow relate the quote to the sport of bow fishing. All right. Are you ready for the quote, Matt?
All right, shoot away.
All right. Everything negative, such as pressure, different challenges, is an opportunity for me to rise. Again, I'll read it one more time. Everything negative, pressure, different challenges is an opportunity for me to rise. Who do you think said that? And then I will reveal the answer, and then I'll ask you to relate it to the sport of bowfishing.
You're going to give me a hint.
I'll give you a hint. All right. He used to play in the NBA.
Kobe Bryant?
Okay, that's actually correct.
Oh,
Oh my gosh! Wow,
yes.
The late great Kobe Bryant. That was a quote from him after he won a final series.
Cool.
Yeah, good job. Wow. Okay, so everything negative, pressure, different challenges is an opportunity for me to rise. How would you relate that to the sport of bowfishing?
I'm going to go with tournament shooting again in this.
Okay.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Just like in sports, there's pressure when you're going to a bowfishing tournament to perform, to do well. There's a lot of pressure, especially if you're just kind of getting into the tournament aspect. Your first couple, you're under a lot of pressure. You feel pressure. But it gives you a chance to rise.
Yeah.
Like what it says
Right.
in there.
Right.
Over years, you can start rising.
Yep.
Now you can see the other end of that spectrum where you've been shooting in tournaments now for 4, 5, 6 years. Like I said, you can see the other side of that spectrum where you're seeing guys that you've never seen before coming to these tournaments.
Yep.
And they're in the same footsteps as you were when you first started doing that.
Yeah.
They're under that pressure. They're feeling that, the stress. Am I doing this am I going to get beat?
Am I going to be
all that
embarrassed
stuff.
if I don't have a good weigh in?
Right. Are they making fun of my boat? Are they making fun of the boat that we're using, the gear that we're using, the equipment that we're using?
Yeah.
Are they making fun of my trolling motor versus all these airboats? That has nothing to do with it. It's about being the best that you can.
Right.
And rising to that challenge.
Yeah. And like you said, no one, I think it's so self-inflicted. No one's sitting there with their buddies going, look at this guy over here. He's only got a tiny little boat and he's not using nice equipment. I don't think that happens. I don't think people necessarily do that, but I think a lot of times, like you said, you'll put that pressure on yourself. And you'll start having those doubts. I think one thing too, Matt, and I'll just relate it to even like bow hunting. I'll see if you've had this same thought process. When you first start out and you first start doing new things like tournaments, a new thing, there's like a million different things that you could possibly do to do well. And then after you do it for a couple of years, you have success in certain areas, and pretty soon you don't care what people are doing. You know what you do well. You know what's worked for you in the past, and you don't show up with so much unknown.
Right.
Is that something that you felt when you were first starting tournaments? You're like, oh my gosh, a fish could be here, a fish could be there, and then now you're kind of like, well, you know what? I know what I'm doing. I know what fish relate to. Is that kind of something you could speak to?
I still do that now.
Yeah.
Where I still make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah. It's all part of it.
It's all part of it. Last year in the Worlds, I made a huge mistake. We left our spot where we should have stayed, and we left. And by the time we tried to get back, the wind it was just too crazy. We couldn't get back out to the spot we were at because it was so windy. You're always making decisions that are going to affect the results.
Right.
And you have to live with those decisions. Trust me, I felt terrible last year at the Worlds in South Dakota. But hey, man,
It's bowfishing.
It don't pay to stump and dwiddle yourself
Right.
for forever on something like that. There, just go with the flow. Go with the flow. The main thing is, which I always tell people, is you're here to have a good time.
Yeah.
You're here to have a good time, meet people, enjoy lakes that you've never shot before, enjoy the scenery, enjoy the people, enjoy the different aspects of different boats. Learn something. Just go with the flow and have a good time and be a good person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. That's awesome.
Just be a good person.
That's awesome. Yeah. Good old Kobe. All right. So product highlight, Matt. What is today? July 19th. We stuck to our 2-week upload.
We did.
Which is good.
Yep.
Quick little product highlight here.
All right.
The Retriever Pro Big Game Kit. All right. This kit includes everything you'll need to go after big game with a compound or most recurve bows. The kit includes a Retriever Pro Big Game Reel, 3 Big Game Chaos FX arrows, a spare spool, a 450-pound spectral line, 2 mega floats. Matt, we have it available in right and left hand.
Yep.
I think we've got some actually that were made this morning. We see an uptick. People are starting to think about that aspect. And if I'm not mistaken, you used that last year to shoot your gator?
Use it on all the gators that we've shot.
Yeah.
Absolutely, because there's no way once you stick an arrow with your arrow,
Stick a gator with your arrow?
gator with an arrow that you're going to hold him on.
Right.
You know, so he takes all that line off, and that's what the thing about the big game retriever. It's not tied to the back like your normal retriever line.
Right.
It's the end of the line is tied to a float. That gator takes off. He takes all that line out of the retriever. Bloop. That float pops into the water, because what you're doing is you're getting a tracking device on that big game.
Mm-hmm.
Here we're talking gators, because like I said, you're not gonna hold a big old mean gator that's ticked off, you know.
Right.
So you're getting that float in there to track it. Now you go up there, you grab that float, you grab your line, you start pulling. If it takes off, you let it go, and you just slowly work that gator back up. And then we'll put a backup shot into that, so we have 2 arrows in that gator.
Yep.
And then once we get them there, we usually can bank stick them, or there's a third arrow that comes in the kits as well if you need to put that third arrow in there. Sure. And I'll tell you what, Derek, last year I did some testing on the 2 gators that I shot.
Yep.
I shot one with both of them I shot with glued on points.
Okay.
Not the breakaways like we used to have in the past.
Yep.
Phenomenal. It's a lot more easy to set that up versus having to tie to the point, bring that line over, use a rubber collar, and all that stuff there. It worked phenomenal. Once that arrow point went under that height of that gator,
Not coming out.
No. We had to cut them out.
I was going to say, you had to cut them. I remember you saying
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I know, too, there's a video clip, Matt, of when you guys had, I'm not sure which gator it was, one of your gators boat side, and it just showed the strength and flexibility of our arrow.
Yeah.
It looked like that gator was rolling. The arrow looked like a noodle. It was getting bent under the boat.
Yep.
And I remember watching that and being like, wow,
Yep.
that's crazy that did not break.
Yep.
It was weird to even see an arrow look like that.
Yep.
Like the knot got underneath the boat, the gator rolled, and the whole arrow, it bent, and when it gave, that was cool to see.
And that's one thing to remember is when you do shoot some of these big game, stuff's going to break. But the main thing is that I want that point to hold.
Right.
You know? Right. I didn't care if one of those arrows would have broke.
Yeah. Right.
As long as
it served its purpose.
Right, because one thing with the big game points is you're tying your line directly to the point, not to the ring or the AMS Everglide safety slide. In fact, the second gator that I shot, I just wanted to try something, so I shot my second gator with the AMS Chaos QT, which is the quick turn, which is you just grab the shaft and you turn it counterclockwise and the barbs release.
Yep.
So I just wanted to see if it would hold. All right, so I shot the second gator with the Chaos QT, went up into the brush, we pulled him back, got a second arrow onto him. The cool part is I could actually take that just like if I had shot a fish.
Way.
I turned, we got it on video. We turned that shaft counterclockwise, pulled that Chaos QT right out of that hide like it was, and it held that gator.
Wow. Just like it was a 15-pound common that you were putting in the barrel. You did that with a gator. Wow. That's cool.
That's cool stuff.
So yeah, make sure to check out Retriever Pro Big Game Kit, right and left hand. We've got them available for you guys.
That's our cue, I guess, Schmitty.
I guess so, yep.
To all of you down in Louisiana for this Friday's BAA Worlds, best of luck on the water.
Good luck.
Be safe. And number one, remember, have a good time.
Yep.
You're down there to have a good time, enjoying the sport of bowfishing. Remember to join your bowfishing association clubs, join the BAA, and get out there and have a good time doing something we all love, bowfishing, baby.
Absolutely.
From all of us at AMS Bowfishing and
Megamouth Bowfishing,
we wish you the best of luck. And remember, aim low,
think big. Thanks for listening, guys.